By the way, I like this toothbrush. I have it already. It told me this morning, Tim, you had too much of this Rioja yesterday evening. So, and witnessing some of the guys in the first row, I even see, you know, they're using this time here for sleeping. So I'm trying to energize you a little bit about, let's say, what's going on in the industry. So, Deutsche Telekom is the most European telco, and therefore I'm not talking about, let's say, the unconnected and, let's say, a lot of, let's say, the emerging markets. I'm much more focusing on, let's say, the developments in Europe and what's going on in this regard. And as you all know, we have a Maverick business as well in the US. So I'm more focusing my presentation about the Western world and what is going to happen there. And by the way, I think the title of this is Connected Lifestyle and Transforming Industries, and that is exactly how I've structured my presentation. So going over the fair at Barcelona, seeing all the opportunities, I think it is getting a little bit unstructured. So let's structure it. I'm a German and I like to structure things, so therefore it will help, by the way. So, you know, the first thing, in the 90s, this famous MIT professor, Nicolas Negroponte, he said, everything that can be digitalized will be digitized. Okay, you would say, that's true. Reality is here. But I like to add something to that one, and that was a little bit even, you know, what we just heard about it. Everything that can be connected will be connected. So you know what might say, what is the difference between the two? The one thing is, digitizing is the one thing. But bringing it from A to B is something which we have to build, which has a lot to do with infrastructure. So it's the connectivity of things. So it is an ecosystem between infrastructure on the one side and the digitization on the other side. And I think this is coming now together, and this is the mega trends of, let's say, what we're witnessing now in the second phase of the internet. So now, structuring that for a while, what are the trends what we see in this regard? The first trend which I would see is sensors everywhere. We take cars. Germans love cars. And I could tell you whatever in the car is happening, already we have BMWs, you know, which are connected with 5 SIM cards of, you know, Deutsche Telekom. There are 60 to 100 sensors in the car. So a lot of digitized information is in this car. The car industry is further evolving on that one, and some manufacturers are working on 200 sensors in the car. So everything in this car is somewhat, you know, digitized. Now, a standard of these cars is LTE now. The LTE connectivity is becoming the connection between digitalization, the customers, the manufacturers, the car renters, whomever you might think about it. So cars is, let's say, becoming a kind of new device. If you talk about the next wave, e-mobility and self-steering cars. How could a car drive on its own? It needs perfect maps. By the way, interesting, I'm not sure whether the German car industry is owning this digitized information. I think the maps are in the valley. Maybe Nokia has even, you know, some maps on that one. But a lot of the value chain of car manufacturers is not anymore in their hand. They have to buy it from application managers like Google's and others. So, but in the future, you have to have a connectivity between the car, the map, and which is another, you know, need of connectivity and infrastructure. The second trend which we see from a sensor everywhere is households. I think the house is getting connected. We heard about the Nest example. Deutsche Telekom has a product which is called KiwiCon, which is a platform which we developed in the last year, and already 29 manufacturers connected to this open platform. Because everything in the household is getting connected. You know, the lighting system, you know, or, you know, even if you take the temperature, if you take the music, everything is got connected. And I could tell you when there's in the World Championship in Brazil, I have a lightning system which is changing its colors. We saw that Philips one, very famous one, and I could take you, when Germany is making a goal, my lightning system is going to black, schwarz-rot-gold, the colors of Germany. The third one are wearables. The wearables, I think, is the third very important trend which we see, where digitalized information and connectivity is coming together. I think you are self-steering yourself already. Being with the fuel, being with others, you are always connected, for your fitness training, for your digital health. You do already a lot of this stuff. Everything is digitalized, everything is connected. So we will have connectors everywhere. The second piece is the Internet of Things. I'm being quick on that one. We believe that $500 billion is this market over the next years. And I could tell you any of this forecast will be too conservative. Because due to the applications we have, vehicle telematics, security, energy smart grids, this is the thing. And the enabler for that one is going to be machine-to-machine business. It's going to be, by the way, a SIM. It is going to be a global SIM connectivity, which we need for that, and we might talk about that one later on. The third one, trend, which we see, is now having this data, analyzing the data. And big data, I think the algorithms, this is, let's say, where the value comes from. It is not only the way how we do advertising in the future. I think this is already a known pattern, a known model for our industry. It is going different, significantly beyond that. New quality of recommendation for customers, new kind of insurance systems which we're going to foresee. The hedging of risks is going to get handled differently. New ways of intelligent infrastructure systems is coming, and support for autonomous decisions are coming from this huge data which we collect and the algorithms which we deliver. So we use the connectivity and the digitalization for making better decisions and more individualized services in the future. And the last trend which we see is everything gets virtualized. Everything is going to be in the cloud. So it is not that we store everything on local devices. By the way, even from a security perspective, cloud is much safer, much more secure than storing it, on local devices. So the cloud is becoming, let's say, wherever you are, you want to access the content which you need. So this digitized information needs connectivity into the clouds to get access to that one. I think if you really work through this fair, if you're really trying to categorize what you are seeing, you will see these four trends. Sensors everywhere, Internet of Things with machine-to-machine connectivity, big data, making the analytical piece of it, and at the end of the day, bringing it into one place where you could access the information. It is more efficient. It is safer than storing it on every single device. It is, let's say, the cloud, which gives us digital nomads the possibility to live, let's say, in this mobile world. So these are the major trends. So this is, let's say, how our life is going to change in the future with this kind of events. And you could imagine hundreds of applications around that. What does that mean for a classical telco operator? And what does that mean for the ecosystem in which we are working? And I think the first thing is there will be, from all over the places, there will be applications developed. This ecosystem is existing already. And by the way, growing very rapidly. Maybe not too fast in Europe, but in Asia or in the US, you see these huge applications coming and growing everywhere. Over-the-top services are available, and every single year, tons of innovations are coming to these markets. I'm not worried that this market is going to develop. This is taking place the application. You saw the beer bottle, you saw the toothbrush. There will be useless applications, but there will be even the 10 billion application coming, the next application coming. Access new services is, let's say, the pattern here, and winning with partners is, I think, the name of the game for telecom operators. Telecom operators, they don't have the DNA to develop this kind of applications. First, they are more focusing on infrastructure business. They are not as strong, in this kind of application. Second, this ecosystem of application is developed in smaller companies. It is developed in another environment than classical telcos are operating with their big infrastructures. So what the infrastructure companies have to do is they have to build a kind of socket, a kind of plug-in for this kind of application, which makes the digitalization and the network a kind of working ecosystem. That sounds easy, but it isn't easy. What we need is different quality of services, which we enable for the applications. An SMS service or a messaging service needs another technology than a healthcare service. Second, what we need is the possibility for billing, that all these application providers are able to bill their services. The third one is security. The information which is shared over that network has to be secure. And the fourth one is the authentication of customer data, which is going to the application provider. So what the telco providers have to do is to build the plug-in, the socket, the Steckerleiste, as we say in Germany, the Steckerleiste for this industry. And it has to be standardized. Standardized APIs, very easy to use for the application manufacturer. Then the digitalization and the connectivity would work together. The second piece of how this information is going to transform are the infrastructures. In the past, we had the Mobile World Congress. Honestly, customers don't care whether they have a mobile connectivity or fixed line connectivity. Customers simply want to have the fastest data access wherever they are at any time. People don't want to have a mobile contract, a fixed contract, a wireless LAN access. They simply want to have immediate access to every infrastructure which is available at any time. And this is what we have to build. And that is, let's say, when we talk about, let's say, fixed mobile convergence, FMC, headnets, small cell networks, we have to make these networks integrated and fast. Fast means LTE, LTE Advanced, Cat6. It means even 4MIMO. It means even, vectoring fiber to the home and beyond that. We are in a race of integrating at the same time building up speed. On top of that, all application services have to work in our networks. So whatever service we are enabling on our infrastructure has to work. A TV service has to work on a mobile phone, on a pet, it has to work on a PC, and it has to work on a TV set. The answer that these services are working in every infrastructure is IP. Our networks have to work all IP in every regard, that we enable this kind of applications, and to do it much more efficient than anybody else, because we will have a lot of cost pressure, even in the future as carriers. These networks go into the cloud as well. We will see the steering of these networks, of these infrastructures, not even managed locally. Think about, let's say, the switch houses which we had in the past for fixed line. They do not end at borders. You could manage networks in the future in the cloud. So even here, we will have a much more efficient network by cloudification. The second thing is, I think, the platforms. And I mentioned that already. To enable this new world of connectivity and digitalization, we have to build the Steckerleiste, the plug-in. We have to offer quality of services. Different services need different, network access. We have to develop a global SIM, because wearables, cars, they do not know roaming borders. They simply move within, across the borders. So we have to establish a global SIM service. We need even, the applications around that, like television and other platforms, to enable it. And the last but not least is, this world is changing so dramatically that we even need another environment where the telecommunications are operating. And talking for Europe, I could tell you we need a kind of new arrangement between European regulation, local regulation, and the global market which we are operating in. I'll give you an example. If you are trying to connect voice over IP Skype service with Viper, there's no connectivity. If we want to deliver, and connect our service with a lot of, over-the-top service, it's not working today. Customers simply don't care. They want connectivity of all the service they are looking for. Second, we need the same data protection rights. In Germany, in Europe, we are not allowed to analyze big data. So all our privacy data is going out of the country and then coming back by reselling it. I think in Europe we need a kind of harmonization of the data protection laws. It cannot be that we are acting with global applications in a global world with different regulatory environments when it comes to data privacy, when it comes to data protection, other things. Thirdly, I think we need new security standards. It cannot be that customers are trusting that their information is used in a service, but they do not know what is happening to this data. And at least for European citizens, this is more and more coming a relevant issue. Who is using my private information, where, and for what? So privacy standards have to be defined in a kind of common setup for this connected and digitalized world. And this has even something to do with ethical standards, which we do not have. At the beginning of trade, we had the Club of Rome talking about, say, how this digitalized network is working. Today, we are still working in our local regulatory environments on a local level, on a European level, which is different to the American level, and even different to the Asian, to the Chinese, and to the other levels. I think we need a common understanding how in this connected world, how we deal with each other, that really, let's say, we as a carrier could give trust to the customers that, their information are used in the ethical way as they're expecting. Thank you very much.